minus 1 minute. T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Fuck you, Westport!
Dang, that's a long ass blank space after that thing. Somebody needs to call the editor. Happy Saturday, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I've got an awesome show with a couple awesome guests lined up for you today. I've been excited about this one all week because there's so many things that we can talk about. This is like a perfect crossover because a lot of us as home growers, we're getting comfortable with the way we grow. We're perfecting our craft. We're refining our processes. We're getting pretty good. But if you ever wanted to transition into something larger, something maybe commercial, something craft scale, or just taking on more patients for your medical grow, you're going to have to expand. And that is one of the most difficult things to do in cannabis cultivation. So many people in the early years failed because they took what we do at home that works great and tried to apply it to a warehouse. And it just doesn't work. And I always love the example of you ever see a warehouse with 100 Clippy fans on the walls? No. But do you ever see a 4x4 tent with a 20-inch freaking wall fan? You don't. Because you need different tools for different situations. And our guests today, guys, they have breached that gap. They have gone through the door. They are taking a lot of the practices that we do as caring, loving home growers, and they've brought that into the recreational space. So I'm excited to talk about all the things that they're doing. Let's bring them in, guys. We've got Mr. Sparkles and Cody from Bad River Farms. Thanks for joining us, guys.
What's happening, everybody?
How's it going?
Yeah, a lot of people already filing up in chat, so it's going to be a great show.
See that? What's up, everybody? Pretty excited to be here today.
Excellent. So, okay, guys, let's get it started. I want to start with you, Mr. Sparkles, because hey, you've got an awesome T-shirt on. I'm sorry, Cody, but he won the T-shirt assignment for the day.
One of us had to.
Hey, yes. But Mr. Sparkles, when or where did you kind of even step into cannabis? Because you're a long way from a person who just scored a dime sack on a corner. So,
my whole life, I was 14 when I first was shared a joint with a coworker, and then just didn't really use much through high school. But soon, by the time I was 18, I was really just wanting to grow cannabis. I had this drive to grow and never really did anything until I got maybe into my early 20s and decided to pull the trigger. The laws around here are extremely scary. So the first 3 times that I tried growing a plant, I cut them down out of paranoia and all that. So finally, in 2016, I just said, screw it. Like, I'm going to do what it takes to prepare myself for the commercial industry when it gets to here. And then just started learning. And about a year later, I found Rasta Jeff, and shortly after, found you and Professor Tobacco and the Dude Grows crew. And since I was listening to Rasta Jeff, he had that commercial mindset and was breeding commercial plants with his Arise. So I started dabbling with the pheno hunting those commercial varieties, thinking that that would be something to have going into the industry here. And then did that for about 8 years. And in 2022, I had a landscaping business, and somebody called the wrong number. They were calling the other landscaper, and they called me instead. And I did some work for them, and the mayor's husband was their neighbor and came over and was talking to him, and he was good friends with the people over at Bad River Farms, and they were all into living soil and compost and whatnot. And so they put in a good word for me, and just one day Rob gave me a call and gave him my information, and then got in there about a year later, and here we are today.
Wow, that's an awesome story, man. I like how you kind of were preparing for the future early. You know, you had kind of a goal outlined, and there's some people, I believe in luck, but there's some people who don't believe in luck. But when I say I believe in it, I'm always prefacing that with, you have to put yourself in a position to get lucky, and you have to be prepared for when you're called. And it sounds like you were with that landscaping job. Like, yeah, I'm Bob. Hi, how you doing? Sure, I can do that.
100%. From that moment to even speaking with you today has like been real like miracles that have happened to like finally get us here. But having like a good heart and morals and ethics is what will light your path. Because like right away I got worms, and the main reason was to get rid of the evidence so I didn't have to carry any leaf matter out of the house. And I mean, now we're breeding worms for the vermicompost and looking to upscale that into some large scale. You know, so like everything just happened for a reason and has pointed us in the right direction. And then not folding under pressure when we were battling powdery mildew. You know, we could have used something systemic. Like even looking into knotweed, that moves in the vascular system, and I don't know if I like that. So just Hail Married 2 ingredients that's on these 25B products and got it, you know, and so just staying true got us here.
That's awesome. And Cody, I know I was complimenting Mr. Sparkle's shirt because it is awesome, but dude, you got a pretty badass shirt too. So I'm not trying to leave you out of that one. Like, you represent.
All right, man. That's all right. We've all got the same shirts, I think. So
right. Well, how about yourself? Like, how did you kind of encounter the plant, and then maybe like we're like, yeah, I should grow this stuff?
well, always been a connoisseur, I guess. I was a farm kid, one of the hired hands. We were driving a brand new tractor home one day, and he made me get out and get a pop can. Got the pop can, he got her all rigged up, and 12, 13 years old, you know, in a brand new tractor, driving her back to the farm, and that was my first experience with it.
That's awesome.
Over the years, been a connoisseur of it. Preferred it more than alcohol, you know. Even when I did drink, I'd go out and smoke quite a bit. But worked construction my whole life. The pain and all of that. I just happened to be sitting on social media one day in a piece of equipment, you know, not working.
Taking a bathroom break.
Yeah, and seeing that Bad River needed some help, so within 2 days I was over there doing anything and everything I could to get my foot in the door, and I was pretty handy with tools, could do just about anything, you know. hung all the stuff in the rooms, all the fans, all the dehumidifiers, and all that stuff, and just kind of started learning with Scott and Sarah too. And of course, Rob, Bad River Rob, he's been one of the best teachers I've ever had, and just a great guy overall to let us do what we're doing and be able to hang out and run through all the plants and phenos that, he just kind of lets us have free reign of it now. But Scott and Sarah Scanis, I took their living soil master class. Unfortunately, with the way testing goes in South Dakota, we had to do almost an immediate shift out of that into peat moss, and just through research and studying, we've ended up with New Millennial and the Scientetics cocoa blocks, and met Josh 1.5, 2 years ago now, and it was one of the greatest things ever, man.
That's an awesome story, because it's like you already had the background, you had kind of the farming. There's so many, just even the discipline that you learn working on a farm that needs to translate into growing cannabis, because at the end of the day, it is still a crop. It is still farming. We had a high turnover at the facility that I worked at. Most people would last maybe a week, like 3 weeks was really the cutoff. It's almost like a relationship, man. If you make it past that first month, then you like stand a chance. But we always wondered what people thought, like, do they expect like a volleyball net and bong setup for lunch break, or like, no, dude, this is hard work.
They all expected easy work and to get rich fast. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I could see that. Well, yeah, a lot of the people that came into work, they were just, again, they didn't want to hire anybody who had experience, because sometimes you have to unteach people, especially in a larger facility when you've got dozens of teammates. It's like if everybody's trying to do it their way, it never gets done right. So how have you guys kind of maybe approached some of that? Do you guys rely a lot on SOPs? Do you rely a lot on instinct? Do you have somebody that's maybe like really looks out after the veg? Because it's hard to be an expert in everything. So how do you guys approach problems and things like that?
Well, like that's what I'd say makes us more craft, because I try to write SOPs, but the plants call for something every day that don't really know what's going on day by day. Just really, the plants are the boss, and we're plant janitors, keeping everything clean. Mostly, like keeping things clean is what we're doing.
Yep.
Like it was kind of tough. Like I had it in mind going into Bad River Farms that I had to leave my knowledge at home, and a good thing, because what happens at home is you just have so much more flexibility with what you can get away with, and in the commercial place like that, like one small decision has huge effects, and those effects last months, and but luckily, just shout out to Rasta Jeff's just professional approach and love, because that just gave me the tools that I needed to be able to stay on my toes and stay flexible, and then any problem that arose, literally an instant 10 hours of homework, and then just applying what we're learning as we go. Luckily, the jug dealers, like synchronistically, were releasing episodes at the time that were covering issues that we were having. And then when it came to the PM, because like everything that Cody mentioned earlier is a preventative. Like you got to prevent all the problems. Once a problem is there, you're kind of screwed.
Mm-hmm. That's a huge difference between commercial and home grow that a lot of people fail to miss sometimes, because it's not, the business on the line. Commercially, you really kind of need to be proactive. You can't, as you're saying, wait for something to show up. But as a home grower, I'm not interested in doing a lot of different sprays or anything of that. So you can be a little bit more reactive, especially if you're monitoring your plants. You kind of hopefully catch things early. But you guys, as you're talking about, there was a PM issue. So can you maybe just like go to the start of that? Like what day or when was it where you're like, I think something's weird, and then you're like, oh crap?
It was about December It was about a week before Christmas, I think.
It was all a bunch of bad clones. We can start there. So we've kind of got a rule now is we don't accept any clones in the facility anymore. Ended up getting a bunch of replacement clones, and it just, those decisions right there caused problems for 2 years. And
yeah, dude.
it kind of
when you have. Sorry.
No, that's okay. It exploded when it happened. It was literally almost every stage, everywhere in the building, all at once. And like Josh said, we were this close to closing down and shutting the doors. One more failed test. We just couldn't afford it. We're not big enough.
Yeah.
There's 6 of us that work there. It was something that was crippling us, and one of the substances just happened to be that citric acid that seemed to be holding everything back just enough. And come to find out, you're fighting mold with mold.
That's a topic.
Citric acid is Aspergillus mold. I mean, that's what it's derived from. That's what it is. So
Yeah, I don't know if you knew that, but that's interesting. They citric acid is an excrement from the black mold, and so that's what they're making these large commercial quantities of citric acid with, is that Aspergillus niger.
Can't just squeeze like an orange and get some?
You can, but not for the vast quantities that they're producing. Like
the biomass.
Yeah.
The biomass is
There
what's
you go.
like in everything, I guess.
It's crazy. Yeah, commercial. Yeah, so it is fighting mold with mold.
Yeah, I'll just put a note in here for a chat real quick. Prefer politic free, guys. Ideally. A lot of us come here to escape that stuff. So I just put that in chat. Hopefully everybody can play along. But back to PM. Another thing that sucks. It's crazy how things can really just boom, boom like that so quickly. But did you see it vector from one room to the other, or was it just boom, it descended upon you, all the rooms?
All the rooms. It was coming in through the vent system, or it was getting distributed in the building through the vent system. So it distributed itself pretty well throughout the whole building. And it started slow. Like, I don't know if you've been at a new facility, but brand new facilities got 2 to 5 years where they're pretty clean. And then, like, once the contaminations enter the building, then they're screwed. And then it creeps in as a small problem, and you can manage it. And before you know it, because it was like week before Christmas, we had found it, which was great news for going into the new year, And then by like April 1st was when I Hail Married the recipe. And so it was, 4 months or 3 solid months of progression, and the next failed test would have been Dunzo.
Quarter-size hail outside.
Right.
Nice.
Now, like one of the crazy, I mean, there's definitely a lot of things that I admire about how you guys do things and why you do it that way. So this probably wouldn't apply to you, but I know there's a lot of producers out there commercially that if they fail a test for something, well, then they just get it remediated, right? Is that ever an option, or is that something in the market where you're at where, they can take the bad stuff out, remediate it, basically nuclearize it?
We were heading in that direction. Quite literally was looking at a machine before Josh's wash, but just with a combined moral and ethics of what we've got going on, I mean, you can remediate the weed all you want. Them spores are still in there. There's the microbiology is still in there. That biomass of all that mold is still in that.
Right.
Cannabis. No matter what you do to it, no matter how you extract it, how you clean it, it's still in there. I have asthma, so I mean, a lot of this has to do with that. If I can't smoke it and it's not a clean product, I don't want to hurt anybody else or take the chance of possibly killing somebody with a severe lung infection over something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I've buried more weed than I've smoked in the commercial industry. Had to hire an excavator one year, just simply You know, 2 greenhouses completely gone because of it. You know, we've killed whole rooms. We've got videos of it where we've walked in and we're just, like I said before, we're just little. You know, a handful of guys work in the main shop, a couple guys in the dispensary, but to take down a whole room and a whole crop and just get rid of it and throw it in the garbage, because that's what should happen, not go remediate it and not go smash it and turn it into extracts, is not what's going to happen as long as I'm working there. I can tell you that, and I'm pretty sure right along with Mr. Sparkles and Rob and everybody else, it's just not going to fit into what we're trying to do. We're not about the money. We're about the medicine, and I'm here for the medicine. I definitely need it myself.
Yep.
So.
Well, good. I was I'm the devil's advocate in me is like, well, that's shitty for the bottom line because it's hard to stay in business with all the margins. But, I respect that. And I'm glad that you're finding a way to do it, because that's how I treat it too. You know, this is a medicine for people. There's a lot of people that count on us to have those standards. I think, as a patient, once you can find somebody like that, if you're not able to grow yourself, that's just a godsend. So to actually have you guys doing that on a larger level is going to be able to reach a lot more people. So I'm hoping that people are going to, be able to catch on to that. I'm not really sure how the market works there. In Washington, we weren't allowed to vertically integrate. So as a grower, I had to sell it to a distributor who then had to sell it to the store. Are you guys able to go direct to customer or direct to store? How does that work?
Yeah, we can vertically integrate. We've talked about doing extractions and stuff, and getting an extraction license, and it's definitely possible. There's people that are doing extractions and making edibles, and which I think might be a different, like we can't make moon rocks. Is that what they're called?
Concentrates, yeah.
Yeah, unless we have a certain license, because it's like altering the product and all that. But we're looking into it, just seeing what we can do. The research side, I think, and like consulting side, I think is the way to go. Because like getting the word out on just how easy of a formula it is to eliminate powdery mildew and then suppress everything else while you're defoliating or doing beneficials. And it works better in the vegetable garden too. So like that's someplace that I'm heading, is horticulture, and get the word out.
Absolutely. There's so many lessons that we learn because we want to grow the best that translates into the food world, which is, there's this many cannabis growers, there's this many food growers. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of cool to sometimes have that crosstalk, because we learn different things we maybe take for granted as like common knowledge, but it's not really common knowledge just because we've been in our path. So
yeah,
we can't get our geothermal greenhouse built fast enough, man. I'm ready to grow some fruit trees and some vegetables.
Yeah,
all the good stuff.
I can't wait to get my greenhouse going too. It's probably going to be next year, because I need to do like a pad, a rock, and all this stuff to build it out properly. But that's my whole thing. I want to grow things that are off season. It's, again, you got to know the rules before you can break the rules. I understand the rules. Now I want to break them. So yeah. I want to grow that crazy off-season stuff. I don't really know how that would apply to my cannabis growing, but that's more food related. Maybe I'll grow some long, crazy sativas. What are you guys growing? And I know one thing that you're growing. And by the way, everybody, please let everybody know your YouTube channel too, because you guys put videos of all of this stuff up. And what I love is that it's really like, we're sitting on your shoulder. You're going through the daily routines, things that need to get done. You're looking over different things. You're making your observations. You're going back to check on them. Cody, last time I saw, dude, you were in like freaking transplant hell. Like it's crazy. Yeah, right. So what before we go into which, what are you guys growing? What is your YouTube channel? So where can people find these videos and follow more of the Bad River Farm story?
You can YouTube the Bad River fam, Mr. Sparkles, and see our pirate ship there and find our videos. And then I got Spar Labs is another one. That's my personal one, and that'll be more the vegetable side and greenhouse side once that gets going.
Cool. And I want to real quick give a shout out to Chunky Nugs, always in the chat. The moderator, the lone moderator, doing things here.
Yeah,
shout out.
Chunky Nugs.
Yeah, dude's he's a busy guy. He's all over the place.
Yep, everywhere. John Lindsay, everywhere.
Yeah. Always the first there too. He's always the first one in the door.
At Holy Toledo.
I love it. Yeah, Holy Toledo, Piss Place Kingfisher. Kingfisher's growing some, no joke. He's been doing very well with that. I know you guys are growing some, no joke. You guys just had a freaking rad harvest of it. We'll talk about that in a minute. But what else are you guys growing?
A little bit of everything. A big one for us right now is the Huckleberry Hills, the Paradise Pine. We planted that outside, 2 years ago now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Got it back inside, got through some phenos finally, got her dwindled down to 2 phenos of it, and it's one of the best plants we've got, It's right up there with a lot of the Irie genetics that we've got going on.
Good stuff.
I think we've got probably 25 total different genetics right now.
Wow.
Just kind of trying to pump through them and see what works for the environment.
It's a lot to manage because, again, sometimes, one will be a little bit hungrier. Some may want the soil a little bit drier. One's going to, stretch a little bit more. What are some of the ways that you guys do?
Mainly, if it works with our style, then and it passes tests and stuff like that, smoke test to the lab test, it just has to work for us. If it doesn't work for us, then it's a goner.
Mm-hmm.
No problem throwing away weak plants or something that just doesn't work for us. So just like you said, we just don't have time for it. It's either going to work out or it's not, and it's kind of looking like a lot of Irie genetics. The No Joke is fabulous. Obviously, we've got the Holy G that we're running through now too. I've got those reg seeds planted that you sent, and
awesome.
There's quite a few others. Especially after our Charlotte's Web debacle thing, we've got some other stuff coming. But
now, yeah, that kind of sucks. I caught a little bit of that. Charlotte Web, you guys got a cut. That was Charlotte Web, but it tested really high in THC and no CBD. Is that kind of the
seeds from a company?
Okay.
Went through the seeds, and then the name's not the name and the plant's not the plant, apparently.
Yeah, it happens a lot. You can name the company if you want to, but unfortunately it happens a lot, and it sucks when it's CBD because recreational people aren't looking for Charlotte's Web, unfortunately.
Yeah. And we just weren't in a spot to really even be trying to grow it. Just being medical only up here in South Dakota. So it was something that I really wanted for pain relief, and that's kind of where it burned me a little bit harder than everybody else, I'm sure. But it's not the first time it's happened. Between clones and seeds, I could probably name off a dozen or more seed companies, but there's no need to do that.
Yeah.
Human error happens. Shit happens. Things happen. If you learn your lesson and you start, guess what, breeding your own, growing your own, doing your own thing, and then you don't have to worry about it, or what to expect.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if any of these names came up for you guys or in your hunt, but when it comes to people that'll reach out to me, they're like, hey, I'm looking for CBD or I'm looking for minor cannabinoids, stuff that, a lot of times does actually qualify as hemp because it's very low THC. I usually go with Hoku Genetics, HOKU Genetics, High Alpine Genetics. They're based out of Colorado. They usually have a lot of CBD stuff, and Seattle Chronic Seeds as well. He does more kind of like 1-to-1 ratio stuff. Those are usually companies that I recommend, but it is hard to find those things. And I have some stuff that I've worked with, but I didn't have the ability to test. In the new state I'm at now, I do, so I can get back into these projects. But I had proper verified like Harlequin, so great CBD strain. Made some crosses wanting to make CBD lines, but without getting to test the offspring, I don't know what really is passing on. So those kind of died in the water. But I don't know. I kind of bring that up because I have some maybe CBD stuff I could send your guys' way if you wanted to look through and then test. But how do you guys go about of like onboarding something? Are you growing like maybe 3 or 4 and then you're like, yeah, it's worth our time to fill up a whole bed? Or are you going with the 10 pack? Like, how does the kind of the hunt go to put something into actual like production?
We're both different. Josh has
Okay, good.
Josh has his way, and I kind of, I mean, that's what I said. It's just another great thing about where we're at. We can kind of do what we want and do it how we want to do it, and learn from it and see what works. I like to get a half a room, which for us is 72 plants. I like to get them sorted, kind of, on a table all by themselves, get a real good look at them, and go from there. That way I've got enough I can smoke on, enough I can look at, enough plants that I can see what's happening, and go that route, I guess.
Nice. And how about you, Mr. Sparkles? And I love that you guys have different philosophy or different approaches, which is underrated in the big picture, because you need multiple minds on something like this. If everybody just had one way of doing it, it could get sideways pretty quickly. So do you have a little bit of a different approach?
Maybe just a little bit slower. Like to grow out the seeds first off and get some clones and sex test them, and maybe because I work with stuff that I've been breeding for a long time that could have a lot of problems in it because they're like F2s or S1s, kind of bring out that intersex trait, and so.
Speaking of that, we had a God, what strain was it? We had a strain that tried to pollinate flowers. Had some flowers early. And
that Starstruck.
The Starstruck that he has, and he sprayed his wash on it, man, and it kept that from accepting the pollen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I sprayed a little bit stronger wash on it to damage the pistils a little bit, plus to wetten everything, and it didn't take the pollen and seed out like it could have.
And we were able to get it to term, get it finished, and harvest it, and it turned out pretty good. For a first run of half a room, anyways. And
that's probably why it was 3.1 terps, is because it was like wanting to seed out.
Did you see any effect on like the hairs, the stigmas? Did they turn brown, or maybe did they retract after you sprayed that? I'm kind of like in my head, I'm like, I wonder what made them. I mean, obviously moisture affects pollen, but I wonder if it did anything to the hairs, because that's what's receiving the pollen and then going down and forming the seed.
They were new pistils. So I just was trying to, nothing looked like it had been pollinated or not too bad anyways. And so I was just trying to take the pistils out before the pollen got to them.
Preventative.
Yep. And normally, this wash is so flexible that it can be sprayed from 4 pH to 6.5 probably at a 4 EC and not damage the pistils at all. So I had to mix it up with, I think, more potassium bicarbonate, because that's potassium bicarbonate is widely used in horticulture and the cannabis industry, but it damages plants. That's why people are really careful with it. Phytotoxicity, it can react with sulfur and just wreak havoc. So
it's really important that you mention that kind of the interaction, because oils and sulfur, we don't really want to mix those, and a lot of people are using that. So and we always talk about spraying with the lights on versus the lights off. Is there any special instructions or recommendations that you would have for people when using your spray?
The only time that the only time I turn the lights off anymore is when I want it to dry slowly, but that takes time, and there is zero damage with the lights on. Say if you do using oil after sulfur, you can wash the sulfur off with this recipe with 0 chance of phytotoxicity, and then go ahead and use your next IPM measure, and it's just amazing. Like I think my last Instagram reel was me spraying with the lights on, 0 safety gear, like don't need a license. And then I drink it at the end because it's literally like health supplements. 100 milligrams a day recommended for an adult on potassium bicarbonate. So it's the stuff in bath bombs. It's giving the girls their spa day. Freaking love it.
I know there's somebody out there that's like, so I can pee on my plants? No, don't do that. Damn. So when do you start the spray, and then when do you end the spray? Like what stages or of the life cycle?
So if you have like powdery mildew, you definitely want to be more on top of it. But once a week has been just the normal IPM, seems to work well. And then like maybe 4 weeks before flower is the earliest that I've quit spraying. Maybe a couple weeks before flower. When we were making sure the PM was to get out of the building, and there was some pretty bad thrip infestations that we had going, and can wash up literally to the day of harvest with 0 issues. And so we've done that before, but now we're like 3 to 4 weeks out of harvest. And
yeah, because usually again when we're getting bud set, I always try to stop doing sprays. Some of the things, obviously environment is a big thing that you can try to maintain or correct that can lead to these things. De-leafing sometimes, you're getting rid of it, but it's really an airborne thing. So do you guys have any like air filtration or scrubbing from room to room, or does the whole facility kind of operate off of one big like HVAC system?
Well,
there's a lot of all of that. I mean, we're really trying, but we
so many things to do.
Yeah, we're getting more and more into what our situation is. We're in the industrial part of town. We're the cattle yard that runs $2 million worth of cattle through. It's right next door. 200 yards from our front door. We're just a bunch of home growers that got the opportunity to turn a building into, a brand new building at the time. Thank God it was brand new then. But like Josh, we're 4th, 5th year now. The spores are probably in the wood, in everything we do. But each room, we have 4 flower rooms. They've all got AC Infinity 12-inch fans pulling air in or out, 10-inch duct going in with the HEPA filters. We've got air scrubbers that we rotate and bring in, and we've got extra dehumidifiers that we bring in towards the end of flower. But just with what we've got going on, every door to every room's been open. I've had, depending on what time of year it is, I've had to have the front door open to get enough cold air in the building, and we went through just about everything you can go through getting to where we're at right now, and we're still nowhere near professional.
Well, professional is surviving for the most part, which you guys have been doing. And again, if you take your licks early on and being the curious and problem solvers that you are, like, just picture 5 years from now what you guys will be doing. It's a good future ahead.
The problems, the tightening the building up and adding some positive ventilation and all that is one of the next things we're looking at. But the problems are seeds to the inspiration for the great things that are to come. Like, everybody in chat, like, the problems in your life really are trying to seed the inspiration, of where life's current wants to take you, and so to not have insect pressure or PM pressure, which chlorine dioxide is one thing that we use. We get those packets. to help clean the air, and we clean the main room and hallways with ozone generators. And
Okay.
over time, I think PM is like pretty much out of the building, because we'd see it. Like if it's there, it will show up. It's just depending on how fast it grows. But
Yeah, sometimes like UVC can help these things, but
Mhm.
just, I mean, from a technical standpoint, it's always in the air. The spores are always in the air, even in a room that's never had it. It's always around. A lot of it, there are a lot of environmental things, there are a lot of, wind movement things, but a lot of it does boil down to plant health as well. Keep a
Huge.
healthy
Yep.
plant. That's a big part of it. Um,
Yeah, making sure like not overfeeding, so those sugars can build up in the
mhm.
plants and let the secondary metabolites come in and fight the insects and mold. And that's where you'll find the insect resistance, because the thrip infestation hit on our first full test run of the no joke, and we didn't have our game together then, and like just it was a horrible disaster. And overfeeding is what caused that, really. There just wasn't the sugars built up in the plants. But getting the sugars dialed in, it's bug resistant, it's mold resistant, so it's important to manage the health of the plant.
Absolutely. And it's, gosh, the more plants you have, the harder it gets. So it
Mm.
really is about just kind of daily scouting. Is that something, you guys are in there doing? Like, walk us through when you guys open a door, is just as, somebody's opening their tent. What are you looking for? How's your process work on that?
Oh God. Uh, used to get into the rooms every day. I tried to make it a point to get into the rooms every day, and of course we had a couple more employees back then too. But try to focus on the problems at hand every day.
Mhm.
There's no matter what way you do something, how many times you've done it, there's always an opportunity for failure. So just trying to stay ahead, prepare. I open the doors and I walk in, and right now our problem, we got thrips and we got ladybugs introduced right now. That's the big thing. So if I open the door and I see it needs to be defoliated, it's go time. Just kind of whatever problems are happening that day get attacked and addressed that day. As we all come together,
Yeah.
kind of all do our walkthrough on our own. Each one of us gets there a different time. We'll walk through. We'll do everything, and kind of sit down and have a joint and talk about it and figure things out. That's another thing a lot of bigger places don't get to do that we get to do. I mean, a lot of studying, a lot of research, just a lot of the same like-minded people figuring out problems every day almost. So
And you find out, what works and what relates. Again, I kind of, started the show mentioning that, as home growers, we have certain things we do and they work great. That's the way to do it. But it doesn't translate to commercial. And you guys are in that, like, kind of where I would love to be, in like that luxury kind of middle spot. It's not a, massive, massive place, but it's not a 4x4 tent either. So I imagine you guys kind of have to like take pieces from each world and then really kind of find out how it works in your own setting.
most definitely, like you said, it comes down to genetics too, of course. But
That's huge. That's a huge thing. What are some things maybe that you guys look for, or some things that you're like, yeah, you're not going to make the cut this time in the commercial setting?
it's not trying to suck up too bad, man. But I mean, honestly, everything Irie Genetics and everything Westport so far it's just been bangers, man. Like you guys really did the homework for us, and you're making our life pretty easy right now. I can tell you that. And to be honest too, they were freebies. most of the great plants were freebies. It spent thousands of dollars on
Right.
seeds.
Makes up for those thousands of dollars of waste.
Yeah, and they were nothing. It was like you get to grow them once, like the Charlotte's Web. Going to have 2 runs of it. The not Charlotte's Web, whatever the hell, whatever. But
Totally.
you put all that time and effort into something, and it's not. And then, like I said, the freebies and just kind of following our heart. Really, when Josh came on, I was running the outdoor, so I was only inside. Kind of let him have free reign of the indoor, and he kind of got me into the Rasta Jeff thing, and I just started listening to that, and the same thing just led right into all you guys and everybody else, and just all the information that comes through the chat and everything, man.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal what this community is doing and what's happening, and hopefully we can, make it better and make people understand that you can do things the right way, and you still can make a living at it, and eventually everybody's going to get there, hopefully.
And that's, again, not to kiss ass too much either, but that's what I really love about you guys and what you're doing and how you're doing it. There's a few people that are doing it the right way, or what I consider the right way for the consumer, for the end user of these things. Out here in Oregon, Jason at State 3 Farms. I think he's actually one of the smallest licensed producers in the state, but he's got more than I could handle. And him and his family do it all. He's got some awesome, really cool landrace, Acapulco Gold type stuff. He grows all the weird things that nobody else does, and he does it well. But yeah, just the methodology that you guys use and your philosophy means a lot to me, and I think a lot of other people out there too. So, I mean, really, am I going to see Bad River Farm on a package? Like, how would people be able to support what you guys are doing? Because we always say, do grow so, right? Vote with your dollars. So what would people be looking for, and where are they looking for it?
Right now, just like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and share our content, everywhere on Facebook or whatever social media, to get the word out that, we're probably most likely, like, I keep putting the disclaimer in there, but like, as far as cannabis cultivation is concerned, we're probably the only label-free cultivation in the world. We don't use label products on our veg plants or flower plants, and that's unprecedented. Like, washing everybody wash, like, not everybody, but people wash their harvest at the end of harvest, and that's pretty common. But we're just washing our plants during their growth cycle and nothing more. Nothing with anything caustic either. Like xylitol is a hydrogen peroxide, acetic acid type product, and that's really strong. It hurts to breathe in. It burns you if you get it on your skin. And hydrogen peroxide too. Like, I see these commercial facilities fogging. Mm-hmm. Like nightly, like when the lights go out, they'll fog like hydrogen peroxide. Maybe is what's going on. I'm not.
Yeah, dude. Like, I'm just laughing because it was always the white unlabeled bottle that the Russian-speaking dude would bring in that got sprayed at night, that everybody had to stay out of the room for 12 hours, even though there was a night shift. Yeah, I to this day, I still don't know what it was, but that wasn't my department.
So yeah, just like sharing our stuff to get the word out that it's possible. We're doing it, and I know it's upscalable because, if you're having to spray xylitol or some other product like every other day to get a harvest out, even like one harvest a year, that's too much effort, and also I'd like to meet facilities that are, close to being label free, they got their, game together, say they got all the preventative stuff in veg, and they can sail through flower without any problems. We want to meet these people and, and start bringing our techniques together. because looking at like every process and like the effect on the plants is what I spend a lot of time doing. So we can educate other people to do something similar to get them clean and clear of their problems at hand. You know, we've proven in the UK and Australia and here in the US, and I think Canada too, that you can use this wash to control the powdery mildew situation in your garden and do the cleanup and, you know, clean your environment and everything. And then next time PM won't show up. You know, that's pretty hard to do with products on the shelf.
It is, and the product can definitely help treat the symptoms, right? But there's so much more that go into causing that. Again, sometimes it's just shit luck of location when it, you know, especially when it comes to pest pressure. You mentioned that you guys were next to like the cow farm, which probably is not going to have as much insect pressure as, you know, if you had a fruit farm or something growing next to you, but I'm sure it presents its own problems. Like I saw at the end of a video you guys were doing, I think it was the No Joke Harvest. You guys were doing like bud washes, and you made the brilliant point too. And I'm just like, never heard it that way, but gosh dang, you know, you don't. It was something about like if you don't dust your room for like 3 months, you're going to have dust all over the place. And that's what our grow rooms are. So can you maybe elaborate on that process and like how you kind of went about discovering it and why you continue to do the bud washing?
It all started because we started outdoors. We had 4 greenhouses before the building was built, and it was the cattle yard. You know, the sale barn right next door just creates the dust. And like I said, the industrial part of town, the grain elevators half a mile down the road, and it's like, what do we do? It's got to go to testing. So I made a couple phone calls, and it's like, well, we live next to the airport. We wash our weed. Light bulb. Started doing some research, and of course there's a bunch of labeled products that you can get into, you know, but to do what we do, we do hydrogen peroxide with RO water. Everything's RO water that we use in all our cleaners and everything. We mix everything up with RO water, but hydrogen peroxide, RO water mix, RO water, hydrogen peroxide, hang it for 7 to 10 days, and we've got some of the cleanest COAs, probably right up there with anybody in the world too, I bet.
That's awesome. And that's such a big deal. COAs, it's not certificate of authenticity, is it?
Of analysis.
Analysis. There we go. My mind's on like baseball cards and stuff. I'm like collector brain. I collect things sometimes. Small habit.
You've got a lot of electronics in your tent, you know, between the fan, the light, the meters, and all of that stuff that pulls that dust and skin cells and everything towards that plant. And then, good Lord, man, I mean, look at the back of your fan sometime.
No.
Holy moly. No. I mean,
no.
It's usually blowing right on the plant. So we're trying to just implement things that people just don't think about and make it a norm, you know, because washing your plants off is totally fine.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the the two like myths or the two preconceived notions of it is, one, you're going to be washing off the trichome heads, and then 2, it's going to be wet, soggy, and you're going to create mold in the bud. I have seen, I don't know if I want to call them studies, but I have seen a lot of like firsthand experience of people doing a gentle wash, kind of more of a dip, and then look at trichome heads, and there was really no like significant difference. There was maybe a detectable difference, but nothing meaningful. And when you weigh that against, you know, like nothing meaningful versus like clean bud, you're like, duh. So that was always one of the concerns. And I think a lot of it really just comes down to the agitation. Like, are you like making ice water hatch? Are you sitting there like this in the water? So
definitely,
how do you guys, you just dip?
Don't want to use ice water for this. Like just room temperature water, so it doesn't make anything brittle. And one of the
good point
people in the comments or in the chat, Taz, he was saying the other day that he poured everything through a 25 micron bag after washing some flour, and there was 0 trichome heads in there. So
Okay.
I bet it's strain specific. You got some of them that, definitely even the slightest bit of cold water will start knocking them heads off, and that's what they're grown for. I mean,
Yeah, that is a good point.
there's so many
people are-
different elements to it that should.
yeah, it can be a scary thing to do. I mean, like washing the plants, like in all the ways that I've done, super scary. Like there's times I'll be like I sprayed a 5 EC and I was spraying like 50% over the recommended foliar for the silicium. So 3 mils a gallon there, and then total 5 EC, and just spraying the plants, and like we'll see what they look like tomorrow. Totally fine. But like, there's certain days that you kind of pucker up a little bit.
There definitely are, and with any like spray bottle or stain remover you get, it's always like spray a small patch of carpet to test before.
Good idea.
Do you do that same approach? You're like, yeah, let's do this weird thing with maybe like one branch, or just taking the whole plant and saying, fuck it, let it ride.
Yeah, usually like a whole plant, because it's be like one of like 144 or so. So do a plant, like wait and see, and then do a table, and then just hammer it, and yep.
You build your confidence, basically. You're like, okay, that one turned out fine. Let's try it again. What is maybe one of the new things that you guys are experimenting with, or maybe trying out? If you can divulge that information, kind of like with the bud wash. You're like, well, we got to try it. Let's do it. See what happens.
Leaning in towards something more natural with the thrips. Rather right along with the mechanical. A little bit of research showing, it's nothing we're into yet, but the citric acid and limonene extract act as quite a few
Eat
things.
their cells, eat through their exoskeletons.
I think it's like more of like it takes away their appetite and an overall unwillingness to feed like normal. So it's like CBD might be an appetite suppressant, similar to like those terpenes for the thrip are just appetite suppressants for them. So wouldn't have to be like an application of a pesticide, more of something that's just in the air.
Right. And limonene is a very common ingredient in a lot of insect repellents, and it's a great example of dosage too, because again, small doses, we like limonene, right? But if we get it in too high of a dosage, it can be harmful to us. If we actually dab it at too high of a temperature, limonene can be dangerous. So Brandon Hudson from KISS, he always says the lethality is in the dose. So
100%.
maybe a little heavy on there. That's interesting though. So thrips, and this is an interesting one too, because it's natural. Spinosad, it's natural, but there's some states that won't let you use that in commercial production. But like for thrips, it's great. It's also totally natural. It's also an unapproved pesticide. So have you guys tried that, or is that, legal to use in your system?
100% use it at home, but in the commercial facility, we can't use it because the pest and the crop need to be labeled on the pesticide together, and they don't have that figured out for any spinosad products yet. So,
oh wow, okay.
So I think there's been no way to interpret that to be able to use it legally.
Okay.
But at home, I'd 100% recommend it over pyrethrins too. Because if you do a good defoliate, like real good, and you use spinosad, probably only have to use it once. That's perfect.
Mm-hmm. And I tried oh god, what is it? I have it in the other room. Epishield. Epishield was great for 2-spotted spider mites. Got rid of that immediately. And there were still some thrips, and I used it on the thrips, and it didn't really take care of it. And then I used some Lost Coast therapy, didn't really take care of it. And those were both oils. They're both suffocants. It's hard to build up a tolerance to being suffocated by an oil. That's one thing you want to do, especially in the commercial aspect, is multiple modes of action. Don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. But it was really the spinosad that took care of the thrips. So that's another thing, is just finding what you actually have and getting something specific, because T-spotted spider mites probably wouldn't react the same to that.
With the
have you guys had to go ahead?
With the ladybugs and Josh's wash, we've been able to pretty much totally eradicate them by week 5. And
nice.
That's between mechanical, ladybugs, and his wash. But I kind of think you need them a little bit to add to that terpene profile.
That's a whole nother side of the conversation.
It is.
There is studies that support that that pest pressure increased terpenes, but at what cost?
Yeah, well, so that's why, I'm trying to figure out, how to eliminate thrip at, say, week 3 on a cultivar, so it has the pressure on the plant, but they're gone, by real bud damage, so there's no real leaf damage, when the buds are getting formed. And we're seeing that just in cultivars, pheno hunting plants that are giving us those results. That's huge importance. If you have powdery mildew and you use our wash and it won't go away, it's in the very small percent of plants, 2%, that will not get rid of powdery mildew, no matter what. So you just need to find something stronger.
Well, and we've got Mac 1 capulators cut.
Okay.
We run that next to anything that we think has problems, and it can handle it. I mean,
nice.
I've never seen a plant that can be in the same room with mold and not get it.
Yep. Yeah, it was next to a failed crop, and we took down the failed crop. Once we saw an emergency, we just emergency harvested and got that out of there, and then just let the Mac 1 ride, and came back awesome. And we weren't washing anything back then either. So, yep.
That's a really popular one. That's hard to get to reverse. Doesn't always like to take pollen, so it's not the easiest to breed with. But it is kind of a rock star. I have heard, because I haven't grown it personally, but a lot of people I know have, is it's usually kind of a slow vegger. So that may be a hard one to put next to Frosted Jeff stuff, because his stuff is just so vigorous.
Yeah.
I've always been impressed with his stuff.
And the Mac 1 wants a lot of light. I don't know if you've heard Cap or Jaron say that, but you got to just give the Mac 1 literally as much light as you can. She'll take the nutrients, and hammer time.
Hammer time. Oh, yeah.
It's definitely one that likes it.
Mm-hmm.
Can't get enough of it.
Yep. So here's a difference too sometimes versus, first time I walked into a commercial facility, I was like, their lights are all the way at the ceiling, which really wasn't that far away. I mean, it was feet versus inches, but every home grower were like, dude, how close can we get it to the canopy? So
yeah,
how do you guys, and I know why there's reasons for it and why they both work, but how do you guys approach your lights? Are you constantly trying to adjust them? Do you have enough spread light? How does that work for, like Mac, who wants a ton of light, but maybe, no joke, doesn't want a ton of light? How do you deal with that?
We've kind of gotten everything. Josh especially has just gotten everything dialed in to where we can almost leave it at all times. Just the way that everything that we have operates, it's the only time we're moving anything is to clean now.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning when we were getting started and going through a lot of cultivars and trying to figure out what worked and what didn't work, it was a lot of up and down. And if you've done it before, I'm sure 12 lights in a room is more than enough to be moving up and down more than once a day.
F that, dude. Yeah.
So
that's when you get light movers or something, but I can't even be bothered to adjust it in my tent, guys. That's really how I feel about it. I use my dial and my PPFD meter, and I'm like, I don't raise my light, I raise my dial. So
yeah, it's if you watch our videos, and we got Gavitas, the 1700 series, and they're recommended, maybe 18, 20 inches away from the canopy. And we got them probably like 35, 40 away at times, running extremely low PPFDs, like really like startling low, like 3 to 500.
In veg?
In like early flower and stuff, you know, and just getting amazing results. I've noticed that our plants don't stack pretty tight. Like you'll see in some of the pictures, we get quite a bit of stretch, but that's kind of aiding in the IPM, and that's why the lights are so high. Is because when I'm spraying underneath those plants, mostly going for the mechanical for the thrip, you know, just trying to hammer and so not spray the lights, and the plants do well, you know, just I don't know. Recently too, there needs to be some more research on this, but I heard somebody talking about light distance, and having lights higher makes more sense for light distribution because that distribution can get further into the plant than when it's all close. And
We're having really good results, man. Like phenomenal results. Even, you know, on the days that we deploy ladybugs, we'll turn the lights down. You know, Josh will go through and wash real quick to give them some water to just kind of make them hang out on the plants, and I'll come right behind him and deploy the ladybugs. And keeping the lights down low seems to be working out. And there's multiple reasons we're doing it. You know, the environment that's happening is like nothing we've ever seen this year. It's been one of the craziest years we've ever seen up here, you know. And then just dealing with everything on a daily basis too. Kind of forgot where I was going with that. Might have got a little too stoned on that hit.
No worries, man. Yeah, I mean, you're sparking so many things in my head too. It's just being able to make. Oh my God, it's contagious. Where did that thought just go? I was on to another one. We're talking about light height and distribution. Yep. Oh, checkerboard. I was going to ask if you guys have played with like, you know, LED, HPS, LED, HPS. Have you done any checkerboard experiments yet? Or is that something you might try in the future?
Not yet, but definitely like the idea of mixed lighting. Definitely like the, I forget who's making those sweet HPS.
Everybody's hitting the no joke and getting a little foggy right now. It's like, uh-oh, guys.
A little bit foggy.
It's DLI, New Millennial, the guys at New Millennial or sponsor or whatever they've got going on. Looking into some of that stuff. Just really looking more in towards supplemental lighting and greenhouses as well. I mean, try to get out of this building that's made out of wood and drywall, and I just don't see a sustainable future with LED lights. I know that's not the money making way that people are going to want to go, but sustainability is really where I want to push and head and get things like we were talking before, you know, get some resilience back in these strains. And it might not be the consumer product that they want, but we'll try to keep both going as long as possible. But supplemental lighting, greenhouses, you know, more outdoor resistance, I would say, and more of nature, I guess. Get back to the way things used to be.
Yeah, and you know, it's almost, again, being the audio engineering guy, I've had so many debates over the difference of sound quality between like vinyl and CD, or a CD in a MP3 or a WAV file. I can still tell the difference only because I spent years specifically training my ears to notice things like compression and bandwidth. But when it comes to well-grown outdoor, not many people are going to be able to tell the difference anymore. It can definitely be done. And that, I mean, ultimately from like just an environmental perspective, as well as a business perspective, the light is free. Like running LEDs is expensive. Running HPS is even more expensive. So if you can transition into something like that, it's going to free up a lot of, you know, like the budget and revenue to do other things. Maybe to start another greenhouse, to start a pheno hunt tent, or, well, greenhouse. So, yeah, that would be awesome because we're not a data center, but we are kind of taxing the power grid. It was funny. Gosh dang, to go on a rant now, it was like because Washington and Colorado legalized 2012. Basically, sales went online in 2014. But like 2015, 2016, there were all these news stories of like, indoor cannabis growth is consuming 2% of the nation's power grid and blah, blah, blah. And we're like, wow, it was a startling number, still a small percentage, but you put that up against the data center argument right now. And I realize I'm going off into other territory, but it's like, where's those stories, man? Anyways, sidetracked it. I'll get back to this. No joke, guys. No joke, right? So you just harvested the no joke. How I saw the video, I saw the room. Can you maybe tell us about some of the like expressions you got, or what was something that made you fill that room? Because I saw that video and I had to pull my wife in. I was like, check this out. I've seen some rooms of no joke, but we're talking rooms. I haven't seen it grown on scale like that. So that was an awesome moment for me. So thank you guys.
Pleasure.
Yes,
but how did it get to fill up such a big freaking space? Because that's a commitment. You must like it.
Yeah, just like selecting. That was the third time that we flowered it. Second time it filled a room like that, and we were leaning definitely towards the funky terps and some real funk, like that orange chicken that you leave on the counter for 2 days, and definitely shouldn't be eating it. But it smells really good. Then re-vegged the stinkiest one and getting ready to take clones of that now. But, just testing to see how it does, how it feeds for the first couple runs. And just knowing that it was intersex free made it really easy to run all 7 cultivars together with not really a worry of having to look. I did some looking just because, but wasn't stressed.
Absolutely should.
Wasn't stressed at all, and that is not something you can really do with anybody today. So huge thanks to putting in that type of work.
Absolutely my pleasure. It's something that, again, I selfishly am looking for the best medicine for myself. And fortunately, there's a lot of other people who like the direction I'm going. I know once I find the perfect I found some great medicine for me, but once I find the perfect one, I know it's going to be perfect for somebody else too. So that's really what keeps me going. And just the commitment to quality is, again, this is it. It's a medicine to me. I also enjoy it recreationally. It's both, but medicinal aspect is so important to me because I've seen so many people whose lives were changed by this. Cody, like you were saying earlier, people with like lung conditions or maybe asthma that can't handle aspergillus or can't handle these certain molds in there. It can be freaking deadly. So that's a big responsibility that's put on any grower's plate that puts things out. So I appreciate you guys growing it and giving the faith to it. But yeah, any plant can be an intersex plant. Every plant has the ability and the genes within it. How easy is it expressed? That's what our job as breeders are to do, is to try to work away from those things. So yeah, thank you. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Thank you for growing them. And it's funny too, the funky orange chicken. I know Kingfisher has one a cup with that particular phenotype of it. A lot of the feedback that I'm getting lately, people are really narrowing in on that one. Like, I personally like the other one because I get that profile, that orange chicken from my Kool-Aid man. So I enjoy it, but I have it. But people are really leaning towards that one in the no joke. So you may be making the right selection there.
Yeah, it's savory. That's something that isn't in a lot of other strains. It just makes your mouth water for some odd reason. It stank.
I like it when you can get that like mouth flavor when you just start thinking about it. You're like, okay, I'm gonna open my drawer. What do I want to smoke now?
Yeah.
You start getting that salivation going.
The
So,
stem rubs and veg too. Like it's amazing at how stinky these things are in the veg room. Like and sticky,
which
literally can't.
which is awesome.
Yep, yep. It's pretty special strain. So has super
Thank you.
blessed that I've got that.
Well, thank you for bringing out the best in her. We shared kind of a cool backstory with me today about like how it even came into your hands. Do you want to share that with people? Because I think it was a pretty serendipitous and cool story, and shows people, hey, you should hang out in the community more often.
Yeah, it was a pretty awesome experience. Made the decision to drive out of town one Saturday and go take a look at some landrace plants out there. And on the way, Chad's podcast was getting fired up and was listening to that. And it was crazy. I mean, there was like 400 to 500 people in chat that day, and Chad was just screaming. And driving out of town with no cell service hardly and whatnot, uh, put in the word no joke for seeds and got lucky enough to win. And it was just, I don't know, crazy because the week before we were had gotten our act together, but we were just at the beginning of like coming out of the PM nightmare. And I was talking to some help on a Saturday that was coming in, and I told him, I'm like, I cannot see the light at the end of this tunnel. Like there is just the amount of work, like we got it figured out now, but the amount of work to get us like there is like it's we're just not gonna make it. I'm like, but like I just know that the Kool-Aid man is gonna come blasting through the wall of that tunnel and bring the light in. So just gotta wait for that. And then it was that next Saturday that I was listening. No, wait, I think it was actually the same Saturday. Like I told him that Saturday, and then that afternoon I won those seeds. And with the grape juice times the Kool-Aid man, like ridiculous. So
All the uses, Hewley says, friends of Chad, Mr. Sparkles, and Cody's. Cheers! All you sound perfect. I'm assuming that's the two Utes. The two Utes uses, you guys. There were some questions, and actually, you mentioned that, and you kind of inspired me here. I should probably give away some no joke. And then hopefully we get another cool story like this years later about what someone's done with it, and we get to see all the pictures. And again, I'm so excited to see what you guys have done with that and how you're doing it. It looks freaking great. So I encourage everybody, again, go check out the YouTube channel. One more time, do you want the name of the YouTube channel for everybody?
yeah, you can check out the Bad River Fam, Mr. Sparkles, and find our weekly Endless Truth series where I give a day-by-day look at what we're doing to stay accountable so we can't hide things. Because if you take a bunch of video, then subconsciously you're going to biasly edit stuff out and hide things. Like, when you watch videos of these huge facilities getting shown, literally all of them, they don't show you the IPM chemical closets, those rooms. They don't show any of that because like honestly, like they're going above and beyond what the label recommends. They're doing, it's not good. It's, and they're doing it just to stay in business. And like, I get it, millions of dollars, all that, but
It's, yeah, again, image and integrity can be the same thing, but they can also not be the same thing.
mm-hmm.
And we get a lot of image from a lot of the very large facilities and the facility tours. I actually went on one, and the video never came out just because it was too like, bro, I don't even want to deal with you or promote you if this is how it's going to be. But anyways, long story short is there were a couple rooms they didn't want me to like film because there was like the paint was like peeling a little bit on the wall or just some like cosmetic things that didn't, some maybe would affect things. Others were just like purely cosmetic, but they were so tied up in the image. They're like, we can't show this. We can't. I'm like, dude, it's part of life. Like,
It's real
come on.
life.
You're not, yeah, it's like you're not necessarily a bad facility. I wouldn't be here if I thought you were. But they were just, yeah, they were divas. So I'm like, whatever, scrap. But again, that's, I try to bring that, and I think actually, and I have gotten feedback on this from people. It's like, we appreciate seeing sometimes what didn't work. We appreciate seeing things that, like, oh, learning lesson. Because again, there's, even as an experienced grower, there's things you don't know until you know them.
Mm-hmm.
So we all run into these things, whether you're a new grower, whether you're an old grower, and showing those is so important, because there's a lot of people in chat here, a lot of people that watch. Like, we crowdsource learning. You can't speed this plant up. You only get so many grows, so many chances per year. But with your type of videos, there's a lot that we can learn from them, like things to do, things to consider, watching how sometimes the bag gets dealt with. When I posted the 2-spotted spider mite video, people were like, ouch, but thank you. So
yeah,
it's important, and I'm glad you're doing it.
Yeah.
Any and all information's on endlessgenetics.com too. You can reach out if you want to chat with Mr. Sparkles or me. Either one of us will usually get back to you within a day or two.
Awesome. Well, let's actually, let me, I'm going to put up the giveaway here, because I know I've kept you guys longer than an hour already. I want to put that up. And
it's fun hanging out with the community.
Yeah, dude, we've got, we've 330 some odd people here hanging out right now. Have been hanging with us the whole time. And yeah, we get a lot of people who watch this on the replay as well, which is awesome. Chunky, again, thank you for putting up all the links in the chat for people. If people have seen them on the screen, then you can go over to the chat, click right on that. And then see, Chunky's on cue. So endlessgenetics.com is where you guys were just suggesting, and I know I just said that word, but hey, whatever. Sometimes it slips. So we'll leave that up there, but I want to put up the giveaway here real quick. We're going to do a pack of No Joke, guys, because honestly, I'm looking at the jar right now. I thought I was going to be able to make it towards at least September, when the box set collection is going to come out, but I don't think it's going to, because that's the high side. That's all the No Jokes that are left. So
did the math.
I'm going to give away a pack.
If you pollinate this week, you might have some ready.
No, dude, trust me. I have calendared. I have timed it. Reversals take way.
Oh, because you got to reverse it still. Oh yeah.
Yeah, my reversal takes a month from when I basically spray to when it's actually dropping enough pollen to pollinate. It takes a month. Males only take a couple weeks, and even then, the seed of the box set that I'm doing, beginning of September. Mid-September, I think, is when when the seeds are going to be fully finished. I usually let it go an extra 2-3 weeks compared to what I normally would, just for getting the seeds mature. But yeah, that's the last thing I'm going to be able to do before November. And November, I am stopping. So that's the last No Joke for a couple of years, maybe. So we'll see how things shake out. But November. Yeah, things are done. So I'm not going to be able to make any more. That's the end of the No Joke for now. But again, I keep my parent plants. I have the exact same plants, so I can always make more, and I will. But let me, sorry to ramble about myself on a show about you guys.
No, we love you, man.
Sorry. I'm going to put up the screen here real quick. If you guys want to win a pack of No Joke, and again, this is US only. I do apologize. Is the Mr. Magpie rule US only? Just go ahead and type No Joke into the chat. I'm going to go ahead and let's see here if I can put you guys where I was. Nope, dang it. Let's see here. Everybody loves my face. All I do is talk about myself and show my face. Bad River Farms, come on. They only do cool stuff, but who's here? No. There we go. Hey-oh. Okay, now can I do this? Oh, guys, I swear I've done this before.
Technology.
I know. All I'm trying to do is like get it to where you guys are with this. Is hear from you guys. Can't. Oh. Okay, never mind. I quit. All right, guys. Yeah, go ahead and enter no joke into the chat if you're in the US and you'd like to play for this. We'll roll it in a second. But I wanted to ask both of you guys, kind of a question. You guys have traversed the journey from, small home grow into something much larger. What is maybe some advice you have for either like a new grower or someone who is maybe transitioning from just their 4x4 tent to now, hey, I'm going to do my, 10x10 room. I'm getting rid of the tent. I'm setting up a room. That or a new grower. Maybe Mr. Sparkles, start with you. Do you have any advice for those people?
Just learn as much as you can. Everybody here is on a lot of the podcasts, and I already know, like, you guys are cultivating yourselves. You love to learn. You're pretty self-sufficient, and that's really what the key ingredients is right there. And just keep learning every day. There's thousands and thousands of hours of education online, and a little bit here and there, you'll just learn. And if you run into a problem, just like I was telling you, about 10 hours of education per problem that we'd run into. And, then you got a pretty good pretty good idea of what you're doing. And after time, you just got thousands of hours of education, and that's all it is. Like, just do what you love.
Paying attention, man. That's so important. I always encourage people to write it down, but sometimes people are better than me and they're able to bookmark it in their head. But I like how you say, again, keep doing it, man.
That's true. I write everything down that I do, because you can't trust your brain or anything, just so.
And you can't, really. You can't.
This is the last mix that I made. And it's just know like kind of where you're at, but write down the nutrient mixes and the days that I wash and all that. So just keep it logging. Like, ideally at home, it'd be nice to like have your have the nutrient mix before you even start the flower run figured out, and then run that mix. And if it works, like, change what didn't work for the next run, so you can dial it in every time. Like, then you can start creating SOPs. But other than that, just learning. You can't learn if you're not failing too. So
amen to that, man. 100%. That's, unfortunately, I've learned my best lessons from making mistakes, but those are also the lessons that have stayed with me. So gotta lose some to win sometimes. But Cody, how about yourself, man? Is there any advice that you may give to like a new grower, or, again, you come from like the farming background, maybe an outdoor tip or something that people transitioning from a smaller to larger may benefit from?
I would say about the same thing. Just stick with what you love, do what you love. I mean, you're gonna fail. That's the bottom line. That's how we learn. Stick with it. You can get through just about anything. There's, like Josh said, there's great communities everywhere. You can find everything. I would say try to stick as close to nature. Try to remember to do everything nature would do, and you'll have a pretty good mindset of what needs to happen.
I like that. Again, it's keeping it simple, keep it to the roots. Don't try to play God too much, because nature's got it figured out pretty darn well. I like that, man. I like that, especially for, outdoor growing. Again, something that I don't have a depth of experience with cannabis. But that's, I could go out there with all my indoor knowledge and just be beat the crap because it's a different game. So I'm just going to try to keep it simple there and let nature do it. And just, kind of like Josh was saying too, it's be the observer. I've got to be the student for a few years and let nature teach me. But fortunately, I already have a pretty well-sized playbook to deal with certain things. So thank you guys for that. And I hope everybody in chat has enjoyed that. I know I've got some questions from chat for you guys. And there's still, again, if you've typed in no joke once, you're good. You don't need to repeatedly type it in. It doesn't help anything. And it kind of just detracts from the chat at the moment, because I want to be able to see it, because I'm going to put the call out to you guys now. If you have any questions, please type a question in front of it, throw it in chat, and we will try to get them answered here. But let's see here. I'm just going to go to the questions. Chonky was one of the first ones here. It says, I have an animal FaceTime sin mints. Uh-oh. Toad venom. I've got an animal FaceTime sin mints plant growing outdoors. She's in week 3-ish of flower. The pack is a fem photo pack. All other seeds were photos. Is it more likely that I have a plant? Uh-oh, Chonky, I didn't see part 2 of your question. So yes, part 1 of your question is you do have a plant. Ta-da! God, I feel brilliant. But I also called out the toad venom on that one too. So let's see. Rogue Philosophers says Josh's wash saved my grow. And again, one more time, where will people find this wash? Because you're awesome and you share it. Like, hey, ask me. Where can people ask you?
So if you got a question, reach out on the website. If you want to see how I use it, on the YouTube channel is some of the best place. Some videos that I posted last year, see me using it outdoors, and basically just giving you the ingredients, the ratios of the like the EC and pH that you'll measure at home, and giving you proof and a comfortable idea of what you're getting yourself into doing something this crazy. It's all on a YouTube channel. I need to get it more on the website, but I believe with the powdery mildew, there's instructions on the website for that. All the pictures on our website are real that I took of problems that we've had, and like something that you mentioned a little bit ago with like problems outdoors. When you got an aphid infestation, like you really got to be patient waiting for the lacewings and stuff to show up, because they will, but you might get scared and want to do something before that happens. And and if you got lacewings deployed and stuff like that, like 3 days they're completely gone, 100%. Before that looks pretty scary, and so I was kind of playing around with the wash and didn't hurt any of the beneficials outside, and just spraying nothing. And honestly, the only reason that like a pyrethrin didn't get used outside that year was because we didn't have the time. So we were blessed in that nature to be able to be forced to be patient to see what's possible with nature. Let nature do its thing.
When they showed up, man, it was crazy. There were hundreds of lacewings on every plant.
Really? Did you do anything to attract them, or was it just a natural cycle, or they were like, hey, food supply over here?
We ordered the larva.
And
Okay.
yeah, I don't think that year we had released any, but the years before, so if you got a new garden outdoors, get yourself some lacewings, ladybugs, and my new pirate beetles, and the trichogamma. Seeing the hemp-borer moth devastating Minnesota right now. I bet you the outdoor grows here. Like, we're not outdoor this year because that hemp-borer moth just...
Is that something that you can use like an insect net on the plant early to keep it out, or is it small enough to actually get through those and then
that would be a good way to do it, because east of the Rockies, so you wouldn't have that out there yet. Just can't get over there, luckily for you. But
just one freaking clone is all it's gonna take, man. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I call them Super Colorado strips already, so.
Dude, everything with like a freaking resistance has come from Colorado clones. Like, come on, Colorado. But anyways, I'm sorry. I totally cut you off there because I was just like, good dang it.
No.
Not here yet, but it will be.
Yeah, so just load your outdoor environment up with beneficials, and then don't do anything that will hurt them. You know, and just let them do their thing. And you know, and if you got a problem, like you just like kind of what I do indoors too. Like I have a process, and if something doesn't go right, it's how do I tweak the process for next time, and you know, and to actually be able to create an SOP that can be shared with somebody is the goal. But
I've had a lot of
Right.
success with growing pepper plants right outside next door too to the cannabis.
Okay. Well, yeah, you need it hot there. I know you guys said it was 105 earlier today, so that's hot enough. I don't quite have the heat here, but that is one of the things I want to do in my greenhouse. And again, got to know the rules to break the rules. I can keep the heat elevated in there. I can grow things in the middle of winter or off season. Peppers is definitely one of my goals. And then one of these days I'll figure out the camera stuff too. That's another goal. It's good to have goals, right?
yeah.
Shoot. Oh, let's get back to there we go. Okay, that works. I want to put that up there. Yeah, a lot of support in the chat, which is really freaking awesome. People are digging what you guys are doing. And here's an awesome question from a long time buddy. Dank Andy from Belgium. He says, how did you, or maybe how would you, approach bringing yourselves to the market? What was your strategy for building the brand or legacy? And I'll add on to that by saying, I hope there's somebody dedicated to that, because being the grower and being the marketer, there's not enough time in the day. Two different worlds. So how are you guys maybe approaching that, or will be approaching that?
Rob has come up with the Dakota Delights, which is a series of 4 different strains that are the mainstays and flagship strains of Bad River Farms.
Okay.
We've had to divert into other cultivars, mainly for pleasing the consumer on the market for variety is a big thing. And the cuts that Rob has and Cody has found with Rob, like are really good, but really good strains are sometimes tricky to grow in one way or another. So,
Yeah.
you know, we've been dialing everything in for the last year, and now getting back to where we can start regularly producing the flagship cultivars, and definitely pushing pesticide-free, non-irradiated, you know, because pretty much everybody in South Dakota now is irradiated.
Okay.
Say for the most part, like it's bueno. There's some good players out there trying to do their best and, you know, doing a good job. You know, and shout out to those guys. We're mostly like targeting the unmoral and unethical people as far as, you know, the comments about people not doing it right. But, you know, it wasn't very long ago it was legal to spray Eagle 20. And, you know, so like,
dude, one of the shit things now that sorry, I keep swearing, but that's when I get passionate about the testing right now. Like you mentioned Eagle 20, it's like people used it because it worked, guys, but it's horrible. It's deadly, right? When you combust it. So don't use it. But one of the horrible things about the system now, and people have figured this out, again, that's why I applaud you guys for going what I call the right route. They only test for certain things, like Eagle 20 or, you know, different things. So there's a lot of other things that work off label that aren't being tested for that have just as much danger. So there's a lot of commercial I can't say a lot of commercial facilities, but I can say there are some commercial facilities that use these chemicals that are just as bad as Eagle 20, but it's not in the state testing watch list. So it's getting used.
yeah.
And that's, again, back to you guys doing it the right way. I really enjoy that and support that.
Well, because even the knotweed, it moves through the intravascular system and maybe has like a 3 to 4 week efficacy only. So like that's not good enough for me. That's kind of, so having gone that route, and like these fungicides, like shout out to 710 Labs not using any insecticides. But I want to know what your fungicide program is. Like how are you guys managing molds and mildews? Like Colorado dryness, maybe that's location.
Yeah.
Coming out 2 weeks from now, I talk about like problems commercial facilities have and the reasons that they have them and the reasons of why they're having to do crazy things. So stay tuned. Trying to figure out how to have closed door conversations, because like even asking professionals, like, how do we implement zero tall so it works? And like we couldn't get an answer because it was over label instructions. It's basically entering illegal territory.
Yeah, and I'm sure, as you guys know and have found out, state testing is no joke. They do not play around. They do not care if it's 0.001 above. It pass or no pass. And there's some things that are set so low that just don't even make sense. That's why remediation happens sometimes in the commercial market. It's just safer to send it that way. Well, it's crap for the end consumer, but for the business, it's just, hey, it's what you got to do.
Yeah, it's, like the plant, as far as how much nutrients and light and all that scales like perfectly to a T. But what the plant is going to require of you in these different environments, like that doesn't scale. And I'm like a firm believer that cannabis is most happily in your closet at your home grown by its users, by the family that consumes it. Like that's where cannabis is most happy. Because like even at our size, like we still need to be built like a lab with positive ventilation to make it work. And that's, for some reason at home, you just don't have those issues, except for once in a while. Like once a year, you might run into something, and it sucks because you don't run into problems. So, but
that's a big difference, right there. Again, between home grow and commercial pressure. Pretty much 99% of us at home in our tents are running negative pressure. That means our walls are going to suck in when we close the tent because the exhaust fan is porting out more than's coming in. Mm-hmm. But like commercially, all the greenhouses I go to and work at, it's positive pressure, which would mean your tent would look like a big balloon. But the whole theory there, well, it's not a theory. The whole truth there is when you open that door to enter the greenhouse, if you had negative pressure, it's sucking in all the pathogens and insects and anything that's near the door. Positive pressure, it's blowing out. So when you open that door, you're not bringing anything. Well, you still could, but you're pushing air out. So you're pushing those things away. And that's, again, big difference between.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's, and that's, I ask the question every week of like, so what is the home grow doing that's different, and it's most interior hidden room of the house a lot of times. And, for whatever reason, like PM spores, it's hard to get them there, and if you only visit your grow after a shower, like you're already a million miles more ahead than commercial grows, and so I try to not leave the building once I've been in it. That's from the beginning. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the personal rule. We spray our feet off with alcohol before we enter, just to help prevent things, and cleaning all the time.
And those are the cultural practices. That's, the tip of the pyramid for IPM. It all starts with those little cultural practices of, like you said, cleaning the feet before you enter. For us home growers, don't go out, mow your lawn, weed your garden, and then walk straight into your garden, change your clothes, take a shower. I have to wash my hair when I do these things because this thing gets so many spiders. I can't even tell you.
Yeah.
I dip it in paint, coffee cup.
Coffee.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Cody knows. He's got the beard over there. Josh, you got the hair. Like, Come on, man. You ever close it in like the car window as you're driving down the street? You close the window
Lately,
and you're all, yeah.
Yep.
It happens. It happens.
It's amazing how tight it gets in the car door and the window. Man.
Oh, shit. I know that's what people tuned in for, but guys, this is real life stuff. Happens. All right. No joke. No joke. Let's go ahead and give these beans away here. This has been really fun. I always like to give the floor before I give the beans away real quick. Guys, type in no joke if you haven't already. But before we give them away, I always like to give the floor to the guests. I don't always cover everything. Maybe you wanted to mention something. If you want to give any shout outs, or also please, Cody and Mr. Sparkles, tell people where they can find you one more time. But I always like to turn the floor over to you guys. So now I'm going to make your box all big and put you on the spot. But the floor is yours.
I'd just like to thank everybody, man. Stay faithful. That's another thing I got to say. Help your fellow man. Be grateful for what you got. Be comfortable in the uncomfortable. No matter what you do, just keep pushing forward and stay forward. And we love you guys. Check out everything you want to check out on Endless Genetics. If you want to reach out for more than just growing help and growing advice, we're all going through things. We've all been through things. We're definitely here to help. We're trying to team up a whole lot more with Mark and Unspoken Truth, and just a whole lot of mental awareness, suicide awareness, all that type of stuff, guys. Keep your heads up, keep growing, and don't be afraid to give somebody a hug or say hi.
Dude, I'm going to... Thank you. That was freaking beautiful. And that, dude, 2 thumbs up. God dang it. I don't think you could have nailed it. Josh, the pressure's on you, brother, because you got to follow that.
There's nothing more I could say to top that. I was wanting to give a shout out to Unspoken Truth for the mental awareness that he is bringing. JR Token as well is doing amazing things, and
Absolutely.
really stand behind what they're doing, because that's exactly what we want to do here. I mean, it's like our backstories are just crazy because of like how crazy life is, and have found a lot of solace in these communities. And shout out to people going through it out there, and it truly is to like find our purpose in life. And we're cultivating this plant, but it's really cultivating you. There's 376 people I see right here right now that are trying to better themselves, that are like part of a community that I'd say is one of the tightest, strongest, most respectful, fastest growing in like spiritual ways, not just in numbers, but we're part of it. We are the spearhead of the spearhead, and the people that are coming to save us is literally the person sitting in your seat right now. So it's going to be awesome. This community is something else, and you all know it. I don't have to say any more.
Yeah. Awesome, guys. Very, very freaking cool. I can't wait to keep following your adventure, keep following what you guys are doing on the YouTube. And I know we'll stay in touch. I want to hear more about the No Joke and how that, dries and cures up for you, and what you're getting and what people are enjoying out there. So I know we'll definitely stay in touch. Bad for Rob saying, yep, Mr. Sparkles is an awesome guy. So it's unanimous.
There's one other
Just
thing
be
I'd like
kind.
to mention. And Chad, you are invited. They were talking about trying to give you a call the other night, but the To Be Blunt podcast on Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings, and Thursday night, Best of the West is still looking to fill like 6 or 7 spots. So get on there and let's grow together and have some fun.
Yeah, that grow longs are awesome. Everybody who's going to be involved in that, have
Chad,
fun.
You're welcome.
I don't have this. I don't have the space, brother. Hey, if I was in your situation, I would have the space, but I do not. I'm actually, you mentioned clones earlier. I've taken 1 clone in the past like 15 years. And then probably about 4 months ago, I took a Santa Cruz Blue Dream from someone who I knew would have the actual Santa Cruz Blue Dream, because I've been missing that in my life. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's worth it. And then just the other day, I had somebody offer some, and I'm like, well, okay, I already broke my drought. November is coming up. There are things that I genuinely have been wanting for over a decade. I've had access to them through other means, but I was just like, I don't take clones, right? If you have like, I don't take clone policy, then you don't wind up with things that inevitably can sometimes happen when you take clones. But this was worth it, and it was a very, very kind offer. So I will be taking in some more clones. So yeah, I literally have a piece of paper here sitting like, dude, what am I going to keep and what's going to go? Because I've got to I've got to make space.
Yeah.
So damn you and your big rooms. Jerks, all of you. Yeah.
You'll get to see a lot more of it because it's definitely in the stable now. So
awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I hope more people are going to be watching that and following that too. Funny enough, some guy grows says, check out Archive in Portland, Chad. They have really good clones. That one clone that I just talked about that I took in all those years was from Archive in Portland. It was a Purple Punch because it was my wife's favorite at the time. And we were on a romantic trip down the coast, and it was there, and we're like, we'll take it home. So yeah, that's funny. Funny he mentions that, which completely distracted me from what else I was gonna say. I was like, yeah, funny. Oh well. All right, let's give away these no jokes, guys. Yes, Chad Westport. My site is back up. You can pick up stuff there. Things are running low. Texas Real said on Peter's site, that's only international. If you're domestic, hit up my site. If you're international, hit up the Dega.garden. Mean Muffin is sold out. There won't be any more of that because that was a step in a project that I was starting. And then they announced the November thing. So that was kind of a one and done. Let's see. Oh, here's one question that I did actually want to get from you guys here. Sorry to keep dragging you guys on. I said an hour and it's like 2 hours now. But I thought this was important because the spray you're talking about, I think people are going to want to try that. And then this question came in from the East Coast Funk Hunter. And I thought that was like, oh, that's really good because I know when I spray oils like the EpiShield on my plants for those 2 spotted spider mites, I had to be careful about how much dripped into the soil. You don't want oil in your soil. That rhymes.
Yeah.
How about with your spray though? Like, do you test the pH? Does it affect that? Are you trying not to like let the the drip get into the soil?
I don't really test it much anymore because I just use standard. On the ratio chart, it's the 2.5 to 1, and that's 11 grams per gallon potassium bicarbonate and 8.5 grams per gallon citric acid, and it comes out to about 5.6, 5.7.
Okay.
So like you can literally dial it in to 5.8 or 6.0, 6.2, and have like zero worries. But I literally don't worry about a lot in the shop at all about anything about like, are there bugs here or not? Just like spraying once a week, just don't worry about the pH. I don't worry about nothing because it's so flexible and easy. But you can dial it into exactly what you need. So
the plants love it. Sorry. Mm-hmm. You can literally see how much they love that spray if you're paying attention to them and watching them. Which I feel like I'm pretty connected to my plants, anyways. I'm pretty sure I've heard them talking to me a couple times.
Yeah, even like
you may have
doing a lighter ratio is good for foliar because I don't think any citric acid foliars out there. And citric acid is made in the mitochondria to process like stuff with the DNA. And when the plant sees citric acid, it quits making it and just uses it like instantly. So there's that, and there's not a whole lot of potassium foliars out there. So there's that, and then you can put like silicium in it. It only works with the monosilicic acids. It doesn't really work with the basic silicas out there, but full compatibility, so you can foliar silica on it at the same time while it's in veg. It's great. If you don't have problems, it's still great to use once or twice, and just give your plants a little spa day, basically.
And I guess that's a good question too, is, frequency of application. Are you hitting it every day? Are you hitting it every third day?
Like as little as possible. Like normally for us, once a week.
Okay.
With a powdery mildew emergency, you're gonna want to go to every 5 days, and like you're gonna want to hit it like 2 days in a row, or skip a day and then hit it again, just to do because usually when you see it, like usually the problem's kind of bigger than you'd want it.
Right.
But just hit it 2 times in a row, and then every 5 days after that, to the day, just to get the harvest out of there. Otherwise, like it might wipe it off your cultivar completely, and your cultivar might be resistant. The 5 days really helps to be able to identify where your contamination source is coming from. So,
Right.
like, wash it off, wait 5 days, and you see it like over in like that corner of the tent. There's probably like a vent there or something. Like that's where it's getting in at. And so then just backtrack your way there and clean it all out, and so the wash kills the PM, and like most of the time it's a recontamination is what's happening, and that's why these buildings need to be burned to the ground and rebuilt.
God dang.
Yep.
Yeah. Again, the place that I worked at, they always screwed themselves because they would like have a facility and then get a bug problem, build like a $2 million facility to start again, and then take freaking clones from the old place. So yeah, they always, I don't know, they're 10 million deep and they may have figured it out. But one of the places had just like walls, not particle board, but like press board walls, and they'd flood the floor and that's soaking it up. And I'm just like, dude, your whole building needs to be burned. Like, burn them all.
Yeah. Like it's all got to be poly, some kind that does not grow anything.
We can turn it into a mechanic shop and start building really fast race cars.
Yep. Or
I hear a new hobby. Coming up. All right. Shoot, guys, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for hanging out and sharing your experience and your journey and kind of the philosophy. And I hope people continue to watch you on YouTube. Go over there and subscribe, guys, because you're going to see really the day-to-day stuff, the fun things that we all wish we were the fly on the wall, right? Well, we get to be the fly on the wall with their videos. So let's give away these beans real quick. Again, if you guys are in the US, you can play. If you are the winner, please just hit me up on my Instagram, link down below. Also, my website is linked below. There's an email there as well. That's where you would find my genetics. And they are running very low. So no joke. Grab them while you can. All right, guys. Good luck, everybody. Here we go. Who's it gonna be this week? I hope it's gonna be somebody who's gonna grow them and love them. Robert, UD6XQ, reach out to me. Yeah,
good luck in your new journey.
I want some good genetics right there. Like tried and true. Like if you look at the genetic history, the lineage of what's in there, that's a good one to be getting before November.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good one. And I'm not just saying that. I have a jar and I love it myself. As we started the show, when I think of like, oh, I'm going to open the drawer and pull out the no joke, I'm already getting that salivation going. I know the flavor. Like, that's what every jar should be like, guys. So I hope it is for you guys. Tomorrow is the Patreon Live. That's exclusively for the Patreons. I put up a post earlier today. The paid members, I answer your questions. So I put up a thread, pop your question in there, and tomorrow we'll go through them. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining Josh and Cody, Mr. Sparkles, Bad River Farm. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. Guys, thank you so much.
Thanks for having
Hope you
us.
have a wonderful day.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Chad.
Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Chad. Much love, everybody.
Yep.
Yep.
See you guys on the next one.
Peace.
Fuck you, Westport!